That's oh, gosh. Anyway, good evening. We're recording. All right. So we're in the sugya of pile working, and very much in line with a pile working is the idea of like bedishar. Yeah, like bedishar. Okay, so tonight's stop, we're going to learn a lot about the issue of like Sachs and Shabbat going ahead right and muzzling a shore while it's yesterday we saw the different halachas, 4 different brises, it's only 3 different brises, and we're starting on pay test on the base, the bottom line. Bottom line, pay test on the base. Pay test on the base, Heshkim the Gemara. Tanrabanan. Parois Hameraksois Bitfua. Now, Rashi brings that they used to take barley, soak it in water, dry it out in an oven, and now they're putting it under the feet of the animals of the par to go ahead and take off the shell. So this is after it's been already, it's ready. Mice has been taken off, and now you're putting it what? You're putting it underneath the shell, underneath the feet of the animal to go ahead and take off the shell. The hadoshes bitruma umaisa, and an animal that is being dasha in sheaves of truma and maisa. Now, how do you go ahead and have truma and maisa? Usually, if it's dagon, it's something that you're threshing in, that takes place before the gemar malacha for maisa, which is meruach hakri. Usually, guys, for the gemar malacha for maisa is you smooth down the pile. But if you're threshing, that precedes putting down the pile. So you have to say over here that the Gemara will say that they had Kriyas Hashem while it was in the sheaves. Before it was Meruach HaKri, Kriyas Hashem, Truma, and Maisa while it was in this state. Okay, so what? Premature is in other words, they jumped the gun. Yeah, I guess so. They bought it before. In other words, they jumped the gun a little earlier than. We need to establish that the animal is being dush on truma, but 1 second, truma comes afterwards. So they kind of, again, by calling the shame while it was in the sheaf before it was being processed. Okay, in this case, eino oiva mishum bal sachsam, guys. You're not oiva alei sachsam shabadishay. Why not? Says Rashi. Says Taisus. Let's go to Taisus. To Taisus, the 2 lines down, it gets why the first Taisus. The venera the time of mishum dechsiv dishay. The haroi loy, right? It has to be what roi for him. Umaisa mamen gavayahu, and Maisa is what is mamen gavaya, and Maisa it belongs to on high. It belongs we pass like Rabbi, I guess. Utruma nami v'Yisrael asalite and lifnei bei masai, and truma a Jew can't put in front of his behema. V'afilu koyin dafka kashina shumaychel behema mutar lahachel, and even a koyin who has an animal should only feed it at food that's right for the animal of truma. Shumaychel behema mutar lahachel. V'leichitin mishum hefshit truma. In other words, halachically you could, but you shouldn't because you mastered the truma. So therefore, but the reason why in this case that it doesn't work out is because why it's dishay. It's not like sachsha b'dishay in his threshing floor, and in this case it's not going to go ahead and belong to him because it's not what it's because it's not true because it's still truma. Okay, avnei maris ayin because of my maris ayin. Mifnei bull, maybe bull, you bring a fistful, may oise hamin, whatever they're doing. Let's say it's barley, bring a fistful of barley. If it's wheat, a fistful of wheat. And v'toilin loy betraskelin, and you go ahead and tie it around the feed bag. You know, they have a feed bag around the head. You would tie that around the feed bag. Shebepia. So in other words, to eat from the truma the animal can't, but to go ahead and for marasayin that people think that you're muzzling the animal, go ahead and put a feed bag on the animal to take care of that problem. Okay, you'll take care of that problem. Okay, now maybe kashinam. No matter what you're doing dashin, chitas, iron, spell, it doesn't make a difference. bring kashinin. They teach kashin, I think, is vetch, some type of fodder for an animal. So maybe kashinim, the toilet lahen, toilet law, and you go ahead and tie it around the animal. Share kashinim yafis law minakol, because it's the best thing for everything. Okay, so why do we get out of this Gemara that it has to be dishoy, and if it's not dishoy, there's no isser of what, or you're not over l'sachsa shabadisha. Okay. Now, urimini horis hamaraksos bitfua eina oivim mishum bal sachsam. Okay, that's consistent, right? Why Rashi says mishum the gemar malakta lemaisa mishas disha. The gemar malach is taking place then, so it's not only disha then. And trumas v'adoshes b'truma ma'isa oivim mishum bal sachsam. So there's your steer, guys. Our first price said if truma ma'isa you're not over, and here you're saying truma ma'isa you are over. That's your kasha. So pashtus, guys, it's truma and ma'isa sheni. So in the first price, so we're saying it's not dishoy, and therefore what, you are not chayiv for leisachson. In the second brisa, it's going to be what, you are being over, you're not being over. And we're learning Lil Nishma Shein Del Bas Avram Moshe Neshama Shadam Aliyah, of the mother of our longtime attendee and friend and Talmud and Kishmaka guy, loved by all hyenas and wild animals, Chaim Blacks. Okay, anyway, it's a good thing that hyena wasn't about Leisachson. I know Chaim, I know hyenas. Now, okay, so we have a steer, right? We have
They put you in a blanket.
so we have two. We have a steer, right? Okay, how are we going to answer this steer? Okay. Another halacha. V'nachri hadosh b'parasa shel Yisrael eino oiv mishum ba'sachson. A nachri that's dosh with the par of Yisrael is not oiv. It's not one of the Zion mitzvahs. However, the Yisrael hadosh b'parasa shel nachri, a Yisrael that does go ahead and threshes with the parrot, is, even though it's not his parrot, even mishum ba'sachson. In other words, you don't have to own the parrot to be over by sachson. It's a din in the chefza. It's not a din in the gavra. It's in the chefza, not in the gavra. Okay, so the bottom line is that clause that said Trumas Amaisa, you are over, is a steer. Now we're gonna have a few terutzim, guys. So get the contradiction down quickly. Again, first brisa, Trumas Amaisa, not over. Second brisa, yes over. Second brisa, yes over. Okay, so now we have to see how this works out. Kasha the truma at truma, kasha maisa maisa. It's shver truma and truma. It's shver maisa maisa. Now, bishlema truma like kasha, kam bitruma. That's when you putter, guys. Why? Because it's not dishoy. Kam bigedule truma. So you took truma, you planted it. Gedule truma does not have a din of truma, and therefore you will be chayav for you planted truma in the ground and it grew. You plant truma, it doesn't grow to truma. It's not truma. So gedule truma is also the rabbanon. So the rabbanon, it's still considered dishoy. It's still considered dishoy. So now, truma, guys, the first price says not over, speaking about regular truma. Second price says you are over, speaking about what? Gedule truma, the rabbanon. Ela maisa kasha. Why the first price you're not over, second price you are? The chitema maisa nami like kasha. You'll give the same teretz. Kan maisa kan begedule maisa. Bishle gedule truma. Bishle gedule truma is truma. Ela midrabanan. Ela gedule maisa chulininu. Gedule maisa is chulin. Did nan gedule tevel gedule maisa sheni chulin. It's chulin. Let's see Rashi. Gedule tevel tvush in emrachas bekri truma that you went ahead and you had meruach hakri v'zara betivla, and before you separated truma semaisa you planted it. Harihikishar chulin v'oichli menu aroi ad sheyimrach, and you could eat it, while in the field before meruach hakri. The kivin desaroi kila bataleya isura. Since the in the ground the seed gets destroyed, it loses its shame tevel. Ubetshuma hu de gaza can mefarish hasam gezerim mishum truma ta'ira b'yad Yisrael shem yizrenu li poter shleitin el kayin inami mishum truma tamei they made a gezerim b'yad kayin. Okay, so therefore dil mashlei zar vasi bali day tikla. So what's the teretz going to give over here? What's the possible teretz going to give over here? You're going to say Maisa. You're going to say Maisa in a bishlei truma. It's either way, it's truma. Second one, it's not meiser at all. Guys, second Bryce said, guys, look at me. Guys, look at me. Trumas Maisa, Chayev. Maisa. If it's Gedulei Maisa, it's Chulin. It's not Maisa. You can't apply the word Maisa to it. Again, what are you saying, fellas? In the second Brisa, Truma or Maisa, you'll be Chayev. And what are we speaking about? Truma, this is Maisa, this is Vadai. You went ahead and you're threshing Maisa Sheni, and here you're threshing Gedulei Maisa Sheni. But what are you calling it? Maisa Sheni? It's Chulin. So you can't, the teretz doesn't work. It doesn't. Bishlema Truma. They're both Gedulei Truma is also Truma. Okay, but Maisa Gedulei Maisa is what? It's Chulin. So what does the second Brisa say? Truma u Maisa Yechayev. Why are you calling it Maisa? It's not Maisa. It's not Maisa. So what are you calling it Maisa for? It makes no sense. So that can't be a teretz. So therefore, we have to answer up Maisa or Maisa. First one, you're not Chayiv. Second one, you are Chayiv. So says the Gemara, Elahoi Kasha, Ha Maisa Rishon. That's where you are Chayiv. Maisa Rishon, fellas, is Mamin Hedyet. It's money of the Levi. It belongs to him totally. He can make Kaddish and Isha with it. It's totally his. What? You can give it to Yisrael. Yisrael can eat it, no problem. And now you don't have to be in Yerushalayim. It doesn't even, so now, if you're threshing Maisa Sheni, das is Dishai, Yechayev. What about if you're threshing Maisa Sheni? Maisa Sheni, according to Rabbi Metzia, is Mammon Gavaya. You can't be Mekadosh Nisha with it. So it's not Dishai, and therefore you be Pata. So it's not. Like Kasha, Haba Maisa Rishon, the Brisa that says Yechayev, the second Brisa is speaking about Maisa Rishon, and the first Brisa is speaking about Maisa Sheni. They're both speaking about Maisa Sheni. V'loy Kasha, Reb Metzia, who says Maisa Sheni is Mammon Gavaya. Since it's Mammon Gavaya, it's not Dishai, and therefore you be Pater. Reb Yehuda, who says what? Reb Yehuda, who says it's what? It's Mammon Hedyet, and it's your money. Then it's considered Dishai. Okay. Now, even Reb Yehuda, l'chayra, why like Reb Yehuda would you be chayiv? In other words, like Reb Yehuda, who says, like Reb Yehuda, you can't eat it outside Yerushalayim. In other words, fellas, even if you're going to tell me, guys, even if you could tell me it's Mammon Hedyet, there are certain guidelines to it. You can't eat it outside Yerushalayim. So why is it Dishai outside Yerushalayim? What's your teretz? Your teretz is that, like Reb Yehuda, that it's your money. So if you have your Maisa Sheni, that belongs to you, and it's being threshed, Yechayev. But 1 second, where are you threshing? Pashas outside Yerushalayim. You can't eat it there. So look at Taisus. Kan Maisa Rishon the Mikri Dishai, Kan Maisa Sheni. Da feel Reb Yehuda eina oiver chutz lechoima kideparach b'samach. Right? Even Reb Yehuda, you would not be over outside the choima for haboy choima. Okay, so even like Rabbi Yehuda, so this is the first teretz. Kan b'maisa rishon, kan b'maisa sheni. Okay, guys, this is the first teretz. Okay, okay. I'm sorry for mixing you up. Okay, this is the first part. Okay, now, Hareb says the Gemara, the Omar Maisa Mammon Gabayahu, Rabbi Yehuda Omar Maisa Sheni Mammon Hedyedu. Okay, guys, so let's go. We have two terutzim to the stira. What's that stira? The first brisa says Trumas and Maisa, you're not over. Second brisa says Trumas and Maisa, you are over. We took care of the Truma issue by saying Kan your pata is speaking of regular Truma. It's not Dishai. Where you chayiv, it's Gedulei Truma, which is the Rabbanon, so it's Dishai. Good. Maisa, first teretz. Where you chayiv, Maisa Rishon. Where you pata, Maisa Sheni. Taisus Kasha, like Rabbi Yehuda, I l'chayra, Maisa Sheni is not Dishai. Like Rabbi Yehuda, it says since outside Yerushalayim, it's vad. You can't eat it, so it's vad. It's not Dishai. Okay, that's what Taisus was funny. Now, second teretz, it's speaking about Maisa Sheni. The brisa that says you can't eat it, that you're not over, is Rabbi Yehuda. It's Mammon Hedyet. So it's Tishoy. Gemara is going to ask, Chushleim, we'll get to that. Like Reb Meir, it's Mammon Hegdish. Mammon Hegdish, Mammon Gavaya. It's not Tishoy, and therefore you would be Pata. So those are two Terutzim. Hechidami. Now, how exactly do you have it to be Truma before Disha, guys? How could it be Truma before Disha? No, it's a little logistical thing. Usually, Truma takes place after Miruach HaKri. You smooth it over and you have Kriyas Hashem. If you're doing Disha, that's before you're making the pile. You're threshing before the pile. Piling comes up after the threshing. So how do you have Truma beforehand? He beat him to the punch. He beat it to the punch. He went ahead, and when it was in the sheaves, he said, "This is Truma Gedola," and this is and so forth. Fred Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda, Haboy Chayma, Kasha. Loi Rabbi Yehuda, how can you tell me that you're chayiv it's tishoy? How you need a chayma? How you need a wall? So how can you tell me what it's tishoy? Let's see Rashi, guys. Moment of Haboy Chayma, go down. Sha'asa la'achlei chutz l'chaymis Yerushalayim. You can't eat inside Yerushalayim. Vehechi asa lav delay sachsaim. V'doichi lav delay sucha lechel b'sharecha. Guys, listen outside. Alam de shashayla. You're telling me that outside Yerushalayim, like Rabbi Yehuda, if you thresh, you're going to be chayiv. Correct? Because it's mamin hedyet. 1 second. Like Rabbi Yehuda, where do you have to eat this? Outside Yerushalayim, can you eat it? It's a lav. Lo sucha lechel b'sharecha. You can't eat it, what? In your gates. So what are you telling me now? Einachinami, right? You'll be over the lav le sucha lechel b'sharecha to make it dishay to be over le sachsam. Why is that lav better than that lav? In other words, it doesn't make any sense. Right? No, Rashi is giving you a little lumdus behind it. The Gemara's kasha. You have two lavim over here. One is threshing, but to be chai for threshing, we need the key word is what? Dishoy. It's got to be his. Good. Says Rabbi Yehuda, it is his. Good, it's his. But where can he eat it? Only Yerushalayim. Outside Yerushalayim is also a lav. So Fred Rashi explains Rashi the Gemara's kasha. Why are you so lenient and so machmir and saying he's over on with the lav saksam and saying, well, there's no problem. If he can't eat it, it's not disha either. That's the Gemara's kash. Back in the Gemara. Well, Rabbi Yehuda haboy chayma kigoin shedosh lifnim mechaymes beis pagi. You know where he is? He's chaymes beis pagi. Beis pagi seems to be the suburb that they could go ahead and eat ma'aser sheni with. So in other words, ain't nachinami. It's within the parameters of eating the ma'aser sheni. Thus, it's totally dishay. Thus, there's no isser lesucha lechas b'sharecha. The only isser is what like sachs and shabedishay, and it's bedishay. Okay, so we have now two terutzim, right? Ma'aser sheni, ma'aser rishain, or ma'aser sheni, one Rabbi Yehuda, one Rabbi Meir. Ibay seima, a third teretz like kasha. Kam b'ma'aser vadai, kam b'ma'aser demai. In other words, we know that the Rabbi Yochanan was geyser on Amaratzim, that they were not separating what? They weren't separating there was a Ma'aser Rishon and Ma'aser Sheni. Truma Gedola they took off because it's Misa B'dei Shemayim. But they weren't taking the Ma'aser Sheni, they weren't separating it, right? They weren't separating it. And say so geyser, if you buy tefua from Amaretz, you have to separate al safik, you separate what? Ma'aser. Good? So now when the price that said Maisa, you're not over, is speaking about where it's Vadai Maisa Sheni. And therefore, like a Meir, it's mom and Hegdish, and therefore you're part of it's not Dishay. The Brisa, the second Brisa that says you are over, is speaking about what? Maisa Sheni Shel Demai. Now, Fred the Gemara, or states the Gemara, Hashta the Asas Lahachi, now that you arrived at this teretz, the difference between Maisa of Vadai and Maisa of Demai, Truma nami lekasha. We have a similar teretz like Truma, even though we gave a teretz already of Truma and Gedulei Truma. We have one that can be consistent and will kill two birds with one stone. We'll kill Truma and Maisa together. Like kasha, can be Truma vadai, can be Truma demai. Right. In other words, give the same teretz that Trumas vadai, Trumas demai. But you know the teretz, guys. What's the teretz? There's no English Trumas demai because the Amaratzim they took off Truma. So Bishlema Maisa Demai Ika El Truma Demai Mi Ika Batanya Afu Bitul Es Avidoi Rabbi Yochanan was mevatel the in the pasha of in Kisavai, the beer meisters, you say in the Satiyas to the Levi, but you didn't give it to the Levi because the Levium didn't come up by Olis Bavel. They stayed behind. So they were guys and they took the Meiserisha and they gave it to the Kahanim. Because of all the Mai, the Fisher Shalach Chol Yisrael, they sent Chol Yisrael, the Rosh Lehayim Afishin El Truma Gedola. Bavad, all they separated Truma Gedola. So therefore, your teretz of what of Truma Vadai Truma Sub, it doesn't work. Eloi Kasha. You want to give a teretz that's not speaking about gedulei truma. El kam b'trumas ma'isa vadai kam b'trumas ma'isa demai. In other words, you have to take off from ma'isa rishon. The Levi has to take off and give to the kohen, and it's called truma. That's called trumas ma'isa. So trumas ma'isa vadai, that there is no din of there is no din of lesachs and shabadisha, but trumas ma'isa of demai there would be. Okay, so therefore, in just Chazar and Gibba, we have a stira. We have a stira between the first price that it says by Trumas and Maisa there is no Leisachsim. The second price is saying there are. We offered one. Let's get the two terutzim by Truma. Truma Vadai would be Pata. Gedulei Truma would be Chayev. Trumas Maisa Vadai would be Pata. Trumas Demai would be Chayev for the Isser. Maisa, we had the first teretz was Maisa Rishon, Maisa Sheni. Second teretz, Maisa Sheni, with one according to Rabbi Yehuda, one according to Rabbi Meir. And the third teretz, that one speaking about Maisa Vadai, and then that you would be Potter, and Maisa Demai, you would be Chayev. So we just finished nice Gemara. Boy, my name Rav Sheshes. Very nice Gemara, guys. Really nice Gemara tonight. Haisoicheles umatreses. Now, this din of Leisachsim Shabadishar, there's two ways to look at it. Is it because of the health of the shar or the psychological tsar of the shar? In other words, when the shar is eating, right, the shar must be eating something that's good for it. And therefore, if you're not going to let it eat it, then it's not good for the shar. And therefore, there would not be an Isolay Sakson. Or an animal does not know what's good or bad for it. An animal, if you muzzle it, it'll be in tsar. So let's say this animal already, before it went into the threshing floor, it already has gastronomical problems. Good? It's being matreses. It's suffering from the vernacular shilshul. It's having diarrhea. Now you're going to put it in. Chitim is usually, that's what they chitim is not good for it. It's not. So the question is, can you muzzle it then? Why? Because by stopping it from eating, it'll be good for it. Or no, the svara behind Leisachshim is a psychological svara, and regardless of its physical state, you can't muzzle it because it's not going to be good psychologically for the shar. So boy minera sheshes. I saw chelus umatreses mahu mishum demalilahu. The reason it's eating is because it's good for it. B'holei malala, and now since it's already suffering, it won't be good to eat. And therefore, you should be able to muzzle it. Like Dilmo, the chaze, it's going to see the food in mitztara, and it'll be in tsar that it can't eat. But chaze mitztara, and even in this state, it'll see the food, and it'll be what? It'll be in tsar. So, as a matter of fact, one of the machloikas, what's the source for tsar bali chaim, guys? What's the source for tsar bali chaim? If you hold tsar bali chaim as the raisa, what's the source? So machloikas rishonim. One holds it's the mitzvah of prika. When the animal's underneath a load, you're supposed to unload the animal. So you're taking the tsar of the animal. Another one is like Saksan Shabadisha. So this would be a source for tsar balachayim. So now, Amal Lahu Rav Sheshes, Tanisu, you learned the answer to it. Rav Shimon ben Yochai Yomer, Mevi Karshinin. We said, no matter what it's threshing in, what do? You bring vetch, which is good fodder for it. V'toilaloi she'akashinim yafisloi minakol. So what do we see? All we care about is about the physical, we don't care about the psychological state of the animal. We care about the physical state of the animal. Shmamina mishum demailala. The reason like sachsham is that it should be good for it to eat. Shmamina, and therefore, if the animal is suffering from the runs, right, shilshul, you would be able to go ahead and be chaysin the animal. Fascinating. Iboilahu. Ma'u sheyama adam lenachri amir la'akam chasim parasi vidashba. We go ahead and be chaysin the para and dash. Now we have machloikas Rashi and Tosfos. If you look at Rashi, the last Rashi on the page, The second to last Rashi. Vidashba, parasi vidashba, disha shelach. In other words, he tells him take my par and do disha in your crops. Taisvis, chasam parasi, vidashba, pirish, vidash bitfu asi, in mine. Guys, Taisvis holds that the whole din of Amir La'akim is only when you have a gain. If you're not going to gain anything, then not. So Machlokes Rashi and Taisvis, whose threshing floor are you threshing in? Rashi says the goy, and Taisvis says what? The yid. So here's your shaila. Iboilahu. Mahu sheyama adam lenachri. Can you say to a guy, chosim parasi, muzzle my shar, vidashba, and go ahead one and according to Rashi, and bidash in yours, according to Taisvis and mine. Mi armina ki armina amir la'anachi shvus. It's us the Rabbanan to say to a guy to do something. Hani mili linyan Shabbos. That's your Shabbos. This is skila because you have edim asra. You have skila. Al chasima this a lav. What chasima, which is a lav, like saxim shabbat loy. In other words, this is a very, very, very interesting shaila that goes around the parameters of this Gemara. In other words, is the din of Amir La'akim limited to Shabbos, or it extends beyond Shabbos and it extends even to what? A regular lav. In other words, can I tell a guy to be over on a lav? In other words, do an Aveira for me. Shabbos you can't. Amir La'akim is asa. It's asa the Rabbanon. What about a regular lav? In other words, it's a very interesting shaila. And it would be lav dafka the lav olesachsam, any lav. Would it be Amir La'akim, but by any lav? That's really what the shaila is. Fascinating shaila. Toshma. Nachri adash b'parasa shel Yisrael, a guy who is being dashed with the para of Yisrael, eina oiva mishum bal sachsam. He's not oiva. So the Nachri, he's not mitzuva and bal sachsam, he's not oiva. Ma'ava, now the diak is ma'ava hudlay avar, ha isura ikka. But if the Jew tells him to do it, then what? Right? Then it's biasa. Okay, so let's be paisha to shaila that Amir La'akim would be asa even by a lav. Says no. But din hu the isur nami leka. There's no isur as well. But I did tani safe with the Yisrael hadash parasa shal nachri oiva panaresha ein oiva for symmetry reasons. Since if a Jew uses the guy's animal, it's a din of the animal you oiver. So we learned the lashon oiver by the guy using the Jew's animal. But ein achinami can sign Amira would be mutter. So you can't be paisha from there. Okay, there's an issue in the Torah. It says for umach v'katuch v'natuch, right? And an animal that has its genitalia, they're crushed and other problems. The chorus, you cannot bring it out as a carbon. This mum, you can't bring as a carbon. So this is the isa guys of castration. This is the isa of castration. You shouldn't loisaso. Even an animal that's not going to be born in the mizbeach, it's also to misaris an animal. It's also to. It's very fascinating what they do about if you have a dog and they want to misaris the dog. So the vet always if you have a Jewish vet will always have a guy on hand to buy the dog. Yeah. I found the BDD with my granddog DJ. BDD Avi Ovta. That's things you don't think about if you don't have a dog. I know the blog he's going like this. Pashma. The Sholchale Lavu de Shmuel. Halin Ture de Ganve. These oxen that was stolen Arami. Uminakhan. And they castrated them. Says Rashi, you have this guy who really likes this Jew. And he knows that that the Jew can't be Mesaris the ox. Now, it seems to be an ox that is Mesuris does a much better job than one that is not. Because I guess his mind is only on one thing. So there you go. As Kenny gives me that. Okay. So if you take away his mind from that one thing, right, he'll be a better what? A better worker. So this guy likes the Jew very much. So he quote unquote steals it, is Mesaris it, and says, oh, by the way, look what I found. That's what happened. We want to know if that's okay. Now, it seems to be that the Jew knew about this and he looked the other way. Okay? Right. He looked the other way. Okay. Mahu. What's the din? What's the din? In other words, can you use this animal? Can you use these animals? So in other words, we're leaving the lav le'sachsom, and we're getting of the lav of uve atzichem le'sasukain. Don't do this what in your land. So sholchuluhu. So Avu the Shmuel sent him the following answer: Ha'aram is avid behu. He did a harama, a trick by looking the other way. Arimu Alaya will trick him. V'yizdavnu and have to sell it. We'll cancel him. He won't be able to use this Masuris Dikashar, even though for him it's a win-win. But guess what? Since he quote unquote looked the other way, he did a trick. We'll trick him, and guess what? He won't be able to use it. That was his psak. That was his psak. Okay. So l'chayru, what do you see? What do you see? That maybe sell it. You see, it's asa. Look at Rashi, fellas. V'nistavnu v'lo yahanu yisrael ba'avera. Who asa that the guy did? Kadeshe yafa lachreish, that it should be what? Good for it to plow. Lefikach yaknesuhu shalay yachrish bay. We cancel him that he won't be able to use this animal. Alma, what do we see? The Issa de Lav, Nami Isura Amir Lanachri. We see by the Issa of a Lav, in this case, the Lav of Uvatzcham Leisasukain. It's a Surah, and let's be Paisha Shaila. A very lumdish way of being Paisha the Shaila. We see that Amir La'akam, to tell the guy, in this case, he didn't even state it, to go ahead and do this would be Asa by the fact that Avu the Shmuel went ahead, what, and he. Guys, good? So we push the Shaila, right? Shaila, guys, Shaila. What's the Shaila? Is there a din of Amir La'akam by Alav? Pashtus we see from the case of Sirus that there is. Amra Papa, not so fast. B'nai Marava Savi, the B'nai Eretz Yisrael hold, Kireb Chitka, like Gemara in Nun Vav in Sanhedrin, like Rav Chitka says, the Amar B'nai Noach Mitzuvim al Sirus. We know there are 7 mitzvahs B'nai Noach. The Gemara there is saying there are a few more. And each Amorah says their own addition. Rav Chitka says a goy is mitzvah what in what is mitzvah what in Sirus. So the ka'avar, and this Jew, by allowing the guy to do it, was oivim shem l'feiv v'leisitei michshol. So in other words, you can't bring a raya from here. The guy is taka. It's not Amir La'akam. He's asa to do it. He can't do it. It's not that he could do it and you can't. The guy can't do it. In other words, it could be according to Rav Chitka, you can't do it. Like Rav Chitka, fellas, the guy himself is asa to Mesaris, and therefore, by the Jew allowing it, he's over on lifnei evil sitei michshol in front of a guy. In this case, the guy, you're putting a stumbling block, the animal, to be Mesaris the animal. So you can't be miraya from here. Now, lehalacha, the Gemara leaves this now, and lehalacha, it's very fascinating. You would think this is what an abaya that loyivshita because of a pup is b'nei marava, and the pup is b'nei marava. Right? But look at the Gemara Vaita. Says the Gemara, Amole Abaya. Now, Sava Rava Lameimar, Rava held to say, Yimachal L'Shchita. In other words, sell it, but you can't sell it for working. In other words, to sell an animal to Shech is a lot cheaper than if you're going to sell it to work. So this animal is ready to work. This animal is Masuris. He's ready to do work. So we're making you sell it. Could you sell it at the higher price or the lower price? Says Abaya, you can only sell it for Shchita. That's what Rava said. Amalei Abaya, Dayan shekonsu alei mechira. It's enough they canceled him mechira. It's enough that they canceled him mechira. That you could sell it, but in achinami that's enough. In other words, the kanas is that he can't use it, but to sell it to another one that could use to go ahead, that you could for him to use it. Now pshita b'nai gadol, he could sell it to his older son. Ki achadami is considered like another person. B'nai cotton mai. What about his b'nai cotton? So Ravashi Asa, Ravashi Shari, and he says it's permitted. Okay, so just in halacha, very fascinating, guys. If I would ask you, is the din of Amir La'akum by a lav, what's the din? You'd say it's in a baya. You'd say it's in a baya d'layivshita, because the Papa said it's not speaking where the sirus is what is your lav and the guy did it. It's speaking where it's his lav too. But the other mefarshim, the Rosh says it's not true. The Rosh says, you see, when Abai and Rava picked it up afterwards and said the kanas, could you shecht it or not? They're dealing with it as if what? As the kanas that what? Not because of what the guy did, because he was over something. But Einachinami, Amir La'akim Taka is Asa, and that's why you have to sell it. So the Rosh holds that we're poishit, the fact that Abai and Rava are handling who to sell it to, it's a raya that they hold it, it's an Abaya de Ishita from Sirus to Leisachsim and any other lav. that the din of Amir La'akim would apply by a lav as well. That's the Pasha level. Boy Rami Barcham, another no. Maremu Mazutra Vimila Hanu Tre Chaside Mechalfi Ahadadi. Now the two Chasidim, they went ahead and they had two goyim took their animals and they were masaris the animals. And here's what they did. Let's see the top Taisvis. Mechalfi Ahadadi Shalemi Daitan Hayim Masarsim. In other words, this one they didn't look away. These goyim behind their back went to the barn, took out the oxen, went and was masaris them. Nonetheless, they switched with each other. People will not believe. They'll think that they were very happy with this. So, in order to avoid suspicion, they switched. Or to show other people that don't think you could do Amir La'akim. Because this was done Shlemi Daitenu. In other words, people would think that they were happy with this, and they think it's Amir La'akim, and they would think Amir La'akim is mutter. You see, so Taisus also all this also. Yes.
So they came by just switching them with each other.
Again, it's not yours. You didn't keep it. You didn't keep it. In other words, I can't have enough from what this guy did for me. What he did from somebody else is not a problem. In other words, if you're right, you're ending up with an ox that is Masuris, but nonetheless, it's not my ox. It's not my ox because again, that would be like if I told the guy to do it and I kept the ox, that would be the problem. That again. It's not a din of what happened in the end. It's that the process. Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. Boy Rami Barchama. Now you want to muzzle the ox. Let's say you put a thorn in the mouth in the mouth of the ox, and it can't eat as a result. Is mahu. What are you talking about? That if it can't eat, that is chasima. You don't have to be. Or you have to stop it from eating. You don't have to physically put a muzzle on it. So Ella Yoshev la kaitz b'fil. Why doesn't it by itself? Not hoishev. Not that you put it there. It got stuck there. You have to take it out. If it got stuck there, do you have to take it out? That's the question, right? So another question. Here bitzla ari b'chutz. You took your pet lion and you put the pet lion right outside, and the ox hears a little. Well, he doesn't have to hear anything. He's put it this way. He ain't eating. He's got other things on his mind, and eating's not one of them. Is that considered muzzling? So mahu fed the Gemara here bitzla chasimim al yasi. That definitely does the job, and therefore would be asa. Ella rabitzla arim b'chutz mahu. Do you have to chase the area away? In other words, it shows up there by itself. In other words, this is a similar shaila that it ended up with a thorn in its mouth by itself, or a lion parked itself over there. Hemid bin what? Hemid bin mibechutz mahu. What happens? What if you put it's a female and you put her child outside, and now it's going to stir her from. She's going to want to go to the child. It's a cow. It's very thirsty, and if it's very thirsty, it's not going to eat mahu. You went ahead and spread a sheet over on you didn't muzzle the ox, but you made it unable to eat the food because you spread a leather tarp over the food, agabedisha on top of the grain mahu. So all these shilas pashet mehachada. Let's be pashet one. Pashet mehachada titanya. Rishoy bal paro lahariv parasai. A bal par is able to go ahead and literally starve his para kedei shetoichel min adisha. So the Balpara cannot feed his ox, or in this case the cow, knowing that the cow is going to have what to eat, that he could do. The Rishoy Balabayas, and the one who owns the threshing floor, who owns the grain, Lahater Pekia Amir, he's able to take a bale of hay, Lifnea Behema, Kadesh Leitaichel Min Adisha Harbe. In other words, he's able to spread it on top. He's able to spread it on top. And therefore, so let's be poishit that you could spread it, and so you can spread a katbalaya. Says Mashani Hasam de Kochla. It's not a good raya because over there by the top he can eat. Over here, good you spread the hay on top of the grain, but he could eat it. Before it goes in, you can't be pushed at anything because it's not speaking where you spread the bale and hay on top of it of the grain. You spread it outside that it ate the hay before it went in, and thus it's not going to eat a lot.
So the hay is less expensive than
Yeah, for sure. Boy, me Rabbi Yonason, me Rabbi Simai. Chosma me b'chutz mahu. Let's say you chois them outside, and there's like saksam shabbat. Does it have to be b'shas disha, or even if you do it outside and then it goes in? Mahu. Shor b'disha rachmana v'halav b'disha. Who at the time of the muzzling, it's not b'disha, it's not doing the threshing. That it can't go ahead and do the act of disha while it's muzzled. In this case, it is. So, in other words, how literal do we take leisachsim shabbat? Is it literally that you can't do it when it's on the grain, but you could do it beforehand, or it can't be muzzled b'shas it's threshing? And in this case, even though you did it b'chutz, since b'shas the threshing, it's going to be the muzzled, then you'd be over the lav. So Amalei, so Rabbi Simoi told Rabbi Yonason, Mi beis avicha atalamad. I guess his father was a kohen. From the house of your father, you could learn. So his father was Rabbi Yonason was the kohen, and Simoi is saying, from your father, you could learn the answer to the question. Okay, what does it say? Yayin v'sheicha al teisht, by a kohen. You cannot drink yayin or old wine. Ato v'necha itcha b'vayachem. When you come to do the avodah. V'vayachem hu da'asal lishtais. Ha-mishtei u'mal. You're telling me you can drink before? Shari? Well, it says ulahavdil. The pasuk says ulahavdil bein ha-kodesh u'bein ha-choil u'bein ha-tamei u'bein ha-tahar. Rachmana. So, in other words, the pasuk says that the reason you shouldn't drink is to be mavdil bein avodah l'kedusha. So, therefore, if you're going to drink before and be drunk, it's still you're still being over on the chayil. You're not being mavdil bein kodesh l'chol. In other words, regardless of when you drink, whether you drink you can't drink inside, must be drink outside. And nonetheless, when you come in, it's not good. So who adin, like I told you, if they sachs outside, right? When you go in, it's good. It's also yovidisa. Elamah hasam b'shas bia loisei shechus. The time you walk in, you shouldn't be drunk. Hachanami b'shas disha. At the time he walks in, loitehei chasima. It should not be what? It should not be chasam. Why?
We know about the telling intoxicated.
Again, no. Again, whatever the reason is, he can't be in a state of intoxication. Regardless, this animal cannot be in a state of muzzle. Again, whatever this, as far as again, we're just speaking about the Metzias. I know you can't do the avodah when you're drunk. I know you can't have your shor muzzled. That's the